Hey, I'm Ola at Gapminder. Everyone wants to understand what's going on with the corona pandemic in their country and elsewhere. But there are so many statistics, it's hard to know what to look at. I used to work with this kind of data 6 years ago during the Ebola pandemic, and I'm surprised that the news are not showing the obviously most important number of all, the multiplier. Look, the virus is capable of multiplying itself amongst us and then kill us. And we are changing our behavior in order to stop it from doing that. Are we succeeding? The way to look at it is take the number of deaths during this week and divide it by the previous week. If there are more deaths, the number will be above 1 and the virus is winning. If the number is below 1, we are winning. I'm going to use Sweden as an example and compare it to the other Nordic countries. Between March 12 and 18, 8 people died, and during the next 7 days, 28. That's 3.5 times more. Next week, 144 died. The multiplier was 5.1. Then the multiplier got slightly lower, but during 3 weeks it remained above 1, which meant the number of deaths kept increasing until the mid of April, when we reached 732 deaths in just 1 week. Then we finally had changed our behavior, so the multiplier has been below 1 6 weeks in a row now, even though the number of deaths every week are still terribly high. Now let's compare Sweden, Finland, Norway and Denmark. During the first 3 weeks they all had high multipliers. Denmark was the first Nordic country to change their behavior in a way so that fewer died. And 1 week later Norway managed, and then Finland and Sweden. And during the coming 6 weeks leading up to today, the other countries managed to pull down their multiplier below 0.8 for at least 3 weeks each, which Sweden still haven't done. It's simple. That's how multiplication works. That's why we have 343 deaths during the last week, which is more than the totals in Norway and Finland. In Sweden, a total of almost 4,500 people have lost their lives so far. But if we continue with the weekly multiplier of 0.9, there will be 3,078 more deaths. Of course, nobody can know, but this is how I came up with this number. I started with this week's number and multiply it with 0.9. I get the next week's number and then I continue like this. Week by week the numbers get smaller and smaller, and it doesn't reach 0 until June next year. But of course we can decide to change our behavior even more and only let the virus multiply by 0.8 every week. Then it will reach 0 in December this year and we will only have 1,368 more deaths. But if we manage to bring the multiplier down to 0.7, we would reach 0 before October and less than 800 people have to die. So now you know how the multiplier of weekly deaths help us compare the pandemic across countries and over time.